call to order. This is a special meeting on August the 3rd, 2016 at 6:35. Please stand for the invocation and join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the
Kingdom,
kingdom,
the power, and the glory,
forever. Amen.
Amen.
We need to establish a quorum. Councilman Tejada, Councilman Ortiz, Councilman Jimenez, and Councilwoman Cantu. We have a quorum. And join me in reciting the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please be seated. And now we will entertain any citizen comments on any topic. No citizens' comments, and we'll go on to new business. We have a CNA to approve a tax rate.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, we just checking the audio. Do you have it recording now?
It's not, hold on, let me. Okay, Marietta.
Testing, testing? Testing?
I can hear you.
It's not picking up on the
Oh.
recording, I'm sorry.
Oh, is it recorded?
I don't know if it's disconnected over there.
Where?
Yeah, but it goes all the way to your, because it'll move.
There's a plug undone here.
Is there,
Right there. This, right here.
yeah, that's not. You just check it?
Oh, perfect.
It's not spiking on here.
Yeah.
Testing, testing?
Do you have your handheld mic available?
Let me try this one here.
No.
It's not getting a signal. We can use a handheld recorder if you've got it.
You have a hand recorder?
Yeah, can you get that?
Okay.
Where's Don when you need him?
Oh, he can fix the technical? Do we have a technician in the house? No, they're recording for the minutes.
Oh.
Yes, we just need to have it record, it's not picking up. So should we to get her a smaller tape recorder?
I can't, it's not in there. I don't know.
So we're gonna go ahead and proceed, Monica?
Put the voice recorder on. That was the job.
Yep. I read it on this.
Is the equipment tested prior to each meeting?
Well, this one normally is working. I don't know why it's not working, but all the cords were all disconnected earlier. So I plugged them in.
Okay, are you ready?
Continue.
Mayor and City Council, what you have before you is a packet that we presented before at a workshop that we had last week, where we discussed the different rates. Connie, our comptroller, will speak to that. We also have copies for the audience so they can follow along as well. Connie?
Okay, as I explained, good evening, Mayor, Councilwomen, Councilmen. As I explained in the workshop, we currently have a tax rate of 0.3252. When property values and the tax rate with the debt was calculated by the appraisal office, they came in with a rollback rate of 0.3625, effective tax rate 0.3409, and a proposed budget by the city manager of 0.3960. Based on the calculations that I did and the M&O needed for the city to operate, we had proposed the 0.3960, which it should give us the same revenue as this past year, and with the exception of $7, and enough to cover the city's debt. However, we're not proposing this, staff is not proposing this rate because it is subject to rollback. And to avoid any rollback elections and for this to hurt the city more than benefit it, we are suggesting to go ahead and approve the rollback rate, which is that 0.3625. That will give us on M&O a revenue less than $95,147, which the city also can make this revenue on other items. This tax rate will increase the property taxes for every $100,000 on a home by $37 a year.
$37 a year, so basically about $3 a month.
Yes. And that's only on $100,000 value. If the home is valued at more, it will be $37 plus whatever more is.
Connie, what is the difference in by percentage from last year's rate to the proposed rate that we're looking at? What is that about?
Let me see, that will be, it's about 5. No, it's a little bit less than 5%, but 4.
5%, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just for clarification purposes, I'm asking because there was propaganda out there, that we were considering a 30% tax increase.
No. By law, the city cannot increase the tax rate for more than the rollback. If for any reason there's a debt that requires for us to increase the tax rate or the maintenance and operations that we need to collect on revenue is higher than 10%, and then it's always subject to a rollback. And the rollback will be the rate that must be adopted.
So state the percentage again based on the rollback? of
Yes.
increase? What
Yeah.
is it?
So it's no longer the $97
The,
increase?
no, it was $71, it was
No, but
97.
at the budget meeting, you said it was 97.
No, somebody mentioned that if it was $97 for any 100, if it was 150, and then it was $150,000 home, then it was $150. But that was a scenario. That's not on my worksheet. If you see it on my worksheet,
So,
if we do the highest proposed rate, which is always subject to a rollback, the increase for every $100,000 of home value is $71. That's the highest.
if we go with the,
Oh,
Yeah, but the one the one the staff is recommending is the 36 cents.
36,
3.62, 36 cents?
yes,
We're not
which
going
is
with, we're not going with a
the green.
396?
No.
Okay.
No, and I explained that in the workshop. I said I'd rather to go ahead and try to compensate with a $95,000 minus on revenue some other way than face a rollback. Because when we go for the highest rate and then there's a vote and we have to roll back, not only that you have to face the expenses of the election for the rollback, and it has to be requested by a citizen, and then the rollback will subject only the M&O, not the debt. So if right now we're short on the M&O 95,000, if we face an election, we might face a higher decrease. And like they say, let's not be greedy. I want to go for the safe rate instead of having to face all of those.
So right now, how it's proposed, you're looking at $3.10 or 15 cents a month?
On the $37?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is per year, right, 37?
Yes. And the city manager just mentioned that the $97 that you were mentioning right now, that was something that we talked about on the tax note, but that doesn't come into effect until next year. And then it also needs to be factoring into the debt. And the estimate that Victor gave us of a $97 increase, it's on the current. So next year, property tax values go up, we pay out some debt, so we don't necessarily will increase $97. And every year on the tax rate is taken as it comes, and it's always different. And what he gives you is that it's more or less a $97 increase, but not necessarily.
Okay, now you're telling me two things. So it's not, so this year it's gonna be 37, next year it's gonna be 91 by raising it?
No,
97?
sir. I was trying to answer your question about the $97.
Yes.
Okay, that's specifically for the tax note that we just passed last week. And what he mentioned, it was that if we pass the tax note, there might be a $97 increase for every $100 on the tax rates. But that's a different.
This is not no relation to the other tax note?
Not for this year, not for this specific year. Once we roll in the tax note debt payments into next year, we calculate it and we take out some payments because we are paying off some debt next year. And then we factor in the new note, and then things are gonna be a reality. Right now, it's just an estimate what he gave you on the workshop.
Connie, for a matter of discussion, can you point out some of the other cities that you did some research on and provide the tax rates?
Yes, as you can see, City of Floresville is the third city that has the lowest tax rate in the region. And we do have the City of Petite, which is the highest. It doesn't look real, but I don't know what they're doing. If they're acquiring too much debt that is throwing their tax rate out of proportion, because that's how it looks here. But I want to go ahead and just not include Petite because it's too way out the charts. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities that are above our tax rate right now.
And even cities that are smaller than Floresville,
They're smaller.
they have higher tax rates.
For example, Christine City has 410 population, but their tax rate is already on the 48 cents for every 100.
Okay, if you may, you gotta remember that these little towns that we're looking at, they don't have the sales tax that the city of Floresville does. So therefore, that's why they have to raise the property taxes and raise the taxes the way they do to survive. We do not have to do that. With our tax base, you know, we've got a good tax base, and with new business coming in, I think we should be all right. Don't you see?
What is the tax rate for Pleasanton?
For Pleasanton is 48.98. And yes, I see your point, Mr. Jimenez, but we cannot always depend on sales tax. Even though we're bringing in more businesses, but new come in, old close down. So with sales tax, it's always an up and down revenue.
Oh, we're gonna see it these next few years. That's why we gotta prioritize on the things that we're doing now. Because, you know, I know there's a lot of people, that's why I have a hard time raising taxes. There's a lot of people that lost their jobs, that quit their jobs before because they were guaranteed 15 to 30 years in the oil field. They quit their existing jobs to make more money, and now they're jobless, they're having trouble paying taxes. Not only are they having trouble paying taxes, they're losing their homes. I mean, and that, to me, that's very sad. You know, when you're losing your home because of the sales tax, a lot of people sometimes think, hey, well, you know what, it's only $5, but whenever you don't have $5, hey, it's a lot of money.
Yes, sir, and I understand your point, and that's the reason why I'm being very conservative. And I'm suggesting the rollback rate, because we also are hurting just the same as everybody else that depended on the oil. So in order for us to survive as a city, we need to do just a little bit of increase. I agree, that's the reason why I don't want to go with the proposed, because with the proposed, we are hurting the citizens, because we're asking for more than maybe they can even pay. But we're going the safe route, which will be the proposed rate, and we're not increasing any revenue for the city. It's just enough for us to pay the debt. Any more questions?
Connie, can you explain to the council about the M&O, maintenance and operation, how much we have to maintain, you know, for like salaries, fees, you know, certain fees that are going up, fuel and all that, that's part of the M&O, right?
Yes,
Okay,
and unfortunately, with the property tax rate, the first one that it hurts is the M&O. Because property tax rate, the first interest is to pay debt. Okay, that's the reason why I was supporting the tax note, because without the tax note, we cannot do what the city needs to get done, and we're not gonna get it with the M&O. The M&O is the first one that comes down, the revenue is the first, as you can see it on the schedule, is the first one that is not gonna end up getting the revenue needed to support the city's operations.
And the maintenance and operation, that's the infrastructure of the city.
Yes.
And if you're keeping it down,
And if you cannot support the operations of the city, and then we're gonna end up going bankrupt. Because it is very hard to pay salaries and pay lighting and water and everything that is needed to keep the city hall open for the citizens when our M&O is very low.
I agree with you there. It's pretty hard for us to catch it at a later date.
And the thing is that if gradually we had been increasing the property tax rates, we wouldn't be in this situation where, you know, sometimes you have to increase that property tax rate very high, which I don't agree with. That's the reason why I'm suggesting the lowest rate, because that is not, the city's not gonna get rich like that. The city's not gonna accomplish anything by doing a huge increase that eventually is gonna come down, because the citizens are gonna protest and they're gonna come down. So you need to increase the property tax rate slowly without hurting anybody. And then you get the city to where it's supposed to be.
Connie, how long has it been since they raised the taxes, property taxes?
12 years.
12 years? Okay.
For 12 years, it's been the same rate. And I really don't understand that, because I don't calculate the tax rate, is the appraisal office who does that. And for a city to have the same rate year after year after year, they were ignoring the calculations of the appraisal office. That's what was happening.
yeah, but if the city's running good and everything's being run well, why do you have to raise them?
Well, it wasn't, because the city was on the minus.
Right.
General fund was on the
Yeah,
minus.
but it was for several reasons too.
Connie, can you go on 2013? Can you explain to us what happened there with the?
On the year 2013?
Right.
Okay, I wasn't here, sir, but I'll try
wasn't
to
either.
explain.
Oh, I wasn't here.
Yeah, I was not employed here, but I'll try to explain here. Okay, 2013.
It's like they're doing the whole thing.
Okay, somebody decided to decrease the property tax rate even lower than how it was. So instead of helping the city move forward, it was a stop. It was stopped and it was hold there.
So is it a fair statement to say that that's when things started to collapse? Or was it in the making already when it started?
It was on the making, but it just made it worse.
It made it worse?
Yeah, because I understand that that's exactly on the years, actually, 2011 and 2012.
Right,
Because at the end of the 2012, that's when we had a 252,000 deficit.
right.
And then on 2013, we had a 72,000 deficit. So we were already going down, and this tax rate decrease,
It got worse.
it got worse. Yes.
So we just got out, what, last year?
Last year, yes, and as you can see,
We have,
I haven't been very aggressive on increasing the tax rate
right,
because it is not cost effective for me to do that.
right.
You know, it's like you have a broken car and you want for the car to run fast when you turn it on, and it's not gonna happen. So you need to slowly push it until it moves. That's what you need to do with the tax rate. Little by little, you need to start increasing it until it gets back into where it's supposed to be.
But you gotta remember too that, you know, in 2013, that's when we started getting a lot of increases on our sales tax, so that put us back to where we needed to be because of the sales tax, not because of the increase of the taxes or the decrease.
But it didn't
Well,
help.
something that happened, Mr. Jimenez and Mr. Ortiz, in 2011, 2012, there was a situation where there was a man that was always constantly suing the city of Floresville, or blaming the city officials of different things. We had hired CPAs, and we spent probably close to $500,000
On,
defending the city on those things.
On the year 2013, that year before I arrived here, I do understand that there was legal fees of almost $300,000. That's a lot of legal fees for a small city like this.
Yeah,
Plus CPA fees.
Mhm.
yeah, I heard it was over $500,000 in it. I mean, I don't know the facts or whatever,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, I wasn't here either. I just see what's on the
I mean,
books.
that'll drain your money quick.
Yeah, very quick, yes.
Council, are there any other questions that y'all might have, Ms. Moreno?
No, if we can invite citizens' comments, I'd like.
Not at this time until after a motion
Okay.
and a second, and then we'll invite citizens' comments. So, do I have a motion at this time?
Ms. Turner, which is the rate that you recommend?
I stand and agree with Connie on what she recommends, and we recommend the one that's in the gold, which is the rollback rate is what staff is recommending for this council to move forward, what we're recommending.
This is a bold move for Floresville because we haven't increased taxes in years.
Yes, which is why we wanted to provide for you that chart that you have, the colorful chart that talks about the years that we have. It's a document that we put into our budget that we just needed for you all to see. And in looking at it, I think the rate that you, if you decide to go with that rate, will be a rate that the same rate that you would have had back in the 1996 or 97.
96 was the last time we had a.
If you look at the chart, the color, I mean, I'm just saying, as you all were talking, I was just looking at the chart, and looking at the history of the city of Floresville, that chart right there. And the rate, I believe, you proposed is 3.1?
6.
3 point,
No, it's 0.3625.
0.36. If you go back, the last time it was 0.36, was back in 1996. Or 95. So right around in 95, 96 was the last time we were at that rate.
And I want to go ahead and mention these, that last year, I did not increase the tax rate because I didn't see the need of, and I was also, if I increased it, I was gonna face a rollback. So I'm very conservative when I do these tax rates, and I would not suggest for us to do a rate that I know that instead of moving us forward, is gonna hurt us back.
So that is my recommendation, I agree.
Council, may I have a motion?
So we're going on a
Point three.
point 362.
Which is the yellow column on your,
Yes.
The rollback rate. Anyone?
I also move that we, take Henrietta's and Connie's consideration for the rollback rate at, .3625.
I second. Motion has been made, we have a second. Now we can entertain citizens' comments.
Good evening, Jim Laughlin. Number one, I'm not here to
Good
complain.
evening.
I'm not here to complain. I've been asked a question I don't know the answer to, and so I'm actually going to ask Mr. Hug the question. What's the trigger for a public hearing?
This is the adoption of the proposed tax rate, so there will be 2 required public hearings still before the final tax rate is adopted.
Okay.
That's, the trigger is the statute, so that'll still have to occur.
Okay, thank you. And I have no problem with the rate. It does what the city needs to do, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of voting for the rollback rate? Please raise your hand. All those opposed?
4-0.
4-0, motion carries. Thank you. That's the only agenda item we have. May I have a motion to adjourn? I make a motion to adjourn. A second? May I have a second? May I have a second to adjourn? We don't need a second. Okay. It is, we're adjourning at 7:02. Thank you.
I think right after I sat down, I wrote that fully in. Look, so we don't